Yes, we were looking at Monera, so we will try to study about Monera now. Examples of animal which do not have red blood: insects. Cockroach, earthworm. Insects will not have a blood color. Okay. So now we are getting into kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera is divided into two classes. Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. Okay. So we are going to study in detail about kingdom Monera today. So we'll be only doing the thing. So first what we will do is we'll start writing some notes about general characters of Monera. Okay, they are unicellular organisms. The second point is they have 70S ribosome. The third character is they have naked DNA. Not bound by nuclear membrane. Cell organelles like mitochondria, lysosomes, Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum are absent. They reproduce asexually. Binary fission or budding. Okay. Cell wall is rigid. Made up of peptidoglycan. First, let me complete all the points, then we can explain. I will give you time to write it also. Okay, so I'll just come back to the slide 2 and then I'll show you also. The seventh property is flagella locomotory organ. They act as decomposers and mineralizers. They show multiple nutrition mode, autotrophic, holozoic, saprotrophic, and parasitic. Okay, so these are the characters of monirans. I'll come to that question, Tambi. I mean, like, okay. So now moving on further, I will try to explain these points. What is the meaning of unicellular organisms? They are all like made up of simple cellular organisms. So if you're talking about monirans, monirans will be existing as single cell organisms. They will have a cellular type of organization. What do we mean by cellular type of organization? Say for example, if I am going to have a filament of organisms. So there are some monirans which will exhibit in colony. So say for example, you talk about bacteria, bacteria will be living in terms of colony. This is called as a colony. Okay. Or if you're going to talk about some cyanobacteria, they will be like present as filaments. This is what we call it as filaments. It will look like as if it is like a multicellular organism. But what you need to know is in these particular filaments, this is a single cell and it will function independently. This is a single cell, it is functioning independently. This is a single cell and it is functioning independently. What do you mean by a multicellular organism? Whenever you are taking of a multicellular organism, it is not only about the number, it is about the function also. When all these things are going together, perform a same function, then we can call it as a multicellular organism. But in this example that I told you, what you understand is that these cellular structures are independent and they will perform all the thing on their own. So which means though it is present as a colony, this is a single unit. 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 So like that, All these things are independent of each other. None of their life cycle is dependent on other organism. Okay, just that they are present as a group, that's all. They are present as a colony, they are present as a filament. Okay, whenever I'm going to tell unicellular, what is the meaning of unicellular? Unicellular means they are made up of single cell. Whenever I'm going to use the word cellular organization, what you need to understand is the cell organization is like kind of not a tissue level organization. They do not have a tissue level organization. Whenever I'm going to tell it is a tissue level of organization, it means that a group of cells are present and they are going to perform a common function. Say, for example, if you talk about xylem in a plant, xylem is made up of multiple cells. And all these things are concerned with only one function. What is that one function? That one function is it will transport water. In your body, you have blood. Blood is made up of lots of cells. And what is the role of that particular lots of cells? They together, they will help in circulation. So which means there is a common functionality involved in multicellular organisms. Tissues are there so that they perform common functions. But whenever I'm saying that an organism is like kind of unicellular and then like it is having a cellular organization, they are independent entities. That is what I want you to understand. Okay. Okay, so are you guys understanding? So next point is, I think that answers your question, Jay Anirudh, whatever I have thought. Okay, so now we will move on to the second point. They have a 70S ribosome unit. So what is the meaning of 70S ribosome unit? Prokaryotes have a ribosome. Eukaryotes have a ribosome. In prokaryotes, the ribosome is made up of 2 units. Similarly, in eukaryotes, also the ribosome is made up of 2 units. One unit is called as the larger subunit, and the other one is called as a smaller subunit. Okay, here also that way, here this is like smaller, this is larger. So normally in every organism, the larger subunit will be like in the top and the smaller subunit will be there in the bottom. This is how your ribosome will look like. Okay, so just ignore the order here because like I have drawn smaller below, above and then larger below. It doesn't mean that it appears this way in prokaryotes. Always the larger subunit will be like there in the top and then like smaller will be in the bottom. Okay, so these units are different. As in like in prokaryotes, the ribosome which is present is called as a 70S unit. Whereas in eukaryotes, you have a 80S ribosome. What is the meaning of the 70S and 80S? It means this S indicates something called as a Swedberg units. This unit is a unit to classify the density at which it will separate. So say for example, if I want to isolate a ribosome from a cell, I will be using centrifugation technique. So what is centrifugation technique? I will put the cell in a centrifuge tube and then I will cover it and then I will try to spin it in a high velocity. Okay. If I'm putting a particular unit level, if I'm going to like circulate it, what will happen is the ribosome alone will try to come out. Okay, I can isolate the cell content. Inside the cell, there are components at different units. So this ribosome will come out at 70s unit. So which means this is like indicative of at what particular rotational speed it will try to come out. Whereas to isolate a eukaryotic cell, I will use a 80s. Okay. So what do you understand by the 70s and 80s? You will study this detailedly in your cell chapter. So, okay. So not now. Just to have a basic understanding, I'm just trying to tell you what is this S standing for. S is standing for Swedberg unit. Okay. What is this Swedberg unit? This Swedberg unit will be like kind of an indicative measure of how a particular item will come out in the separation process. If I want to separate it, what is the speed at which I have to rotate? So something related to that it is. Okay. So that is what is the meaning of it. Prokaryotes will generally have 70s ribosomes and eukaryotes will have 80s ribosomes. Okay. So since monerans are all like prokaryotes, the ribosome which is present here is 70s. That is what is the point here. Okay. Someone is asking why bacteria live in colony. It is because, let us say that one bacteria is there, that one bacteria is going to divide into two, it will not move away from farther. Okay. So now let us say that the 2 becomes 4 and then 4 becomes 8 and 8 becomes 16. They will not be moving. So they will be like kind of like sticking on together with each other. So when a bacterial group is found there together, we call that as a colony. Like how you call it as like, why is that human beings are present together in residential apartments? Okay, that way. Bacteria also will be living in the same way. So they will not move away once they are born. They are all like together as a unit structure. Do subunits have Swedberg units? Yes, they have. Okay, in prokaryotes, this is made up of the larger subunit is 50s and this is 30s. And here in this case, the larger subunit will have 60s and this is 40s. Okay, so the larger subunit and the smaller subunit, it is a choice, Navina. If you want to understand things and if you want to draw the diagrams, you can draw the diagram. I don't mind. I will try to tell about it. These are questions like when we move on to thing. I mean, like when we study about bacteria, we'll try to study about it. Now we are just studying the characters of monerans. Okay, whether bacteria will possess cell wall, capsule, all those things, I'll try to answer it later. So next thing is they have naked DNA. The DNA is not bound by nuclear membrane. Okay, so they are not bound by nuclear membrane at all. So that is the characters of. This will not add up. Okay, so people are asking me why it is not adding up, because this subunit will isolate at a different speed. This will isolate at a different speed. This subunit will isolate at a different speed. This subunit will isolate this different speed. Okay, this is not like kind of a addition problem. What is that number is indicating here in Swedberg unit? It is just indicating at what a particular measurement that will be isolated. Okay, for isolating the smaller subunit of prokaryote, you might have to apply a different speed. Okay, to isolate a larger subunit, you have to use a different speed. For isolating the ribosome together, both these things together, you need to apply a different speed. Okay, so this should not add up. Okay, this is a different structure. While you are considering these two things together, that is a different speed at which you have to operate. If you want to isolate only the smaller unit, you need to operate at a different speed. Similarly, if you want to isolate only the larger subunit, you need to operate at a different speed. Okay, so which means it is all like not addition problem. So this is just an indicative at which it is separated. This Wedberg unit is indicative of the speed at which something is getting isolated. So they do not have naked, they have naked DNA, they do not have a nuclear membrane. So which means if you are going to talk about a prokaryotic cell, this prokaryotic cell will be having something called as a nucleoid zone. Nucleoid zone is like kind of a dense cytoplasm kind of thing. In this nucleoid zone, you will have the DNA. This is not covered by any membrane. What is meant by naked DNA? There is no membrane covering it. Okay, it is not having a defined nucleus. Yes, right. Okay, so someone is asking me, what do you mean by naked DNA? The word naked DNA means not covered by nuclear membrane. That is the meaning of naked DNA. Okay, so there is a thing. The genetic material of prokaryotes are very simple and they can undergo changes very quickly. It is not protected as such. That is why there is a thing which you have to understand, that these organisms will undergo mutations at a faster rate. So organisms like bacteria, unicellular prokaryotic organisms, can mutate very fastly. What do you mean by mutation? Change in the genetic nature can happen very quickly. Why is it happening very quickly? Why it is happening very quickly? Because it is unprotected. Okay, and this blue color zone which I have drawn is the nucleoid. And this yellow color structure that I have drawn is the DNA. Okay. The next point is someone is asking me about mutation once again. Actually, there was someone who was asking me that if their nucleus is not protected, nucleus DNA is not protected with the nuclear membrane, what will happen to their DNA? Okay. What is mutation? Mutation is change in DNA. Why is that a cell wall, a nuclear membrane is present? A nuclear membrane will ensure that the genetic content is protected. So say for example, an eukaryotic cell is there, it is having a nuclear membrane. When the nuclear membrane is there, the content inside that thing is protected. So it will not be affected very quickly. On the contrary, if you have a prokaryotic cell is not having any membrane. So where do you think the DNA will be affected very quickly? It is in the prokaryotic cell. In the prokaryotic cell, it will get affected. Here, it will not be affected very quickly. So, what is the basic difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell is the lack of membrane. So, prokaryotes do not have the membrane, eukaryotes have the membrane. Okay. So, where will mutation will happen fast? What is the meaning of mutation? Mutation means change in genetical DNA. Changes which are happening in the DNA, the damage which is happening to the DNA. Where will it happen faster? It will happen faster in prokaryotes because there is no membrane. Okay. So whereas if you are going to talk about eukaryotes, in eukaryotes, the damage level or the mutation level will be much slower. That is what you need to understand. Yeah, sudden change in the chromosomal structure is what we call it as mutation, or random changes that are happening in the mutation chromosomal structure. So next point we need to understand that cell organelles like mitochondria, lysosomes, Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum are all absent. Okay, so prokaryotic cells do not have any of these structures. Mitochondria will not be there, lysosome will not be there, Golgi body will not be there, endoplasmic reticulum will not be there. So which means all cells of monirans will not have any of these things. Okay, and they will reproduce asexually. The reproduction is always through binary fission or budding. Okay, so mitochondria is not a required structure for ATP production always. Okay, there are other membrane bound organelles which can be helpful for it. Okay, so these structures, these prokaryotes will have something called as a inclusion body. Okay, they have something called as a inclusion body. These inclusion bodies will have membranes where ATP can be produced. Okay, you will understand this what is the role of mitochondria in ATP production and all in the later chapters. Okay, in plant physiology you will try to study about it. Okay, so they reproduce asexually through binary fission or budding. This is the most prevalent case. Okay, this is the most prevalent mode of reproduction. Some cases they will also go for multiple fission, but multiple fission will happen only under unnatural circumstances. When there is a problem, I mean, whenever there is a adversity, whenever there is some kind of unfavorable situation, at that time multiple fission can happen. Okay. Conjugation, I will try to tell you when I'm teaching bacteria specifically. This is general characters. The cell wall is rigid here and it is made up of peptidoglycan. I already told you the word peptido means it is indicative with amino acid. It is like kind of a amino acid plus polysaccharide. Okay, that is what we call it as peptidoglycan. So cell wall is rigid and it is made up of amino acid plus polysaccharide. This particular organisms will have flagella as a locomotory organ. Okay, usually most of the monirans will have flagella as a locomotory organ. Okay, most monirans, not all. Okay, please understand that it is not necessary that flagella should be present, but if flagella is present, that would be the locomotory organ. Okay, locomotory means movement, moving organ. Your leg is helping you to move. So something which will help in moving is what we call it as locomotion. So they can act as decomposers and yeah, fimbriae is not a locomotory organ. There is an organ which is called as fimbriae. And there is an organ which is called as cilia. These two things will help in holding substances. Cilia can help in locomotion, but cilia is like mostly found only in protozoans, not in monirans. Cilia is not found in protozoans. I mean, cilia is not found in monirans. It is found, it's a major locomotory organ of Protista. In Protista only you will see cilia a lot. Okay, so cilia is like not seen among monirans. Under monirans or like monera, kingdom monera, the most popular locomotory organ is flagella. Okay, so the monera kingdom will act as decomposers and mineralizers. What is the meaning of decomposers? Decomposers means they will decompose things. So they will break down bigger components into smaller components. And what are mineralizers? Mineralizers means something which will break down the substances and they will release the minerals into the soil. Say for example, if I'm going to kind of break down some substance and I'm going to relieve zinc from it and then I'm sending it to the soil, then that is called as a mineralizer. So what is this they will do is they will decompose material and make it simpler. While decomposing materials, they will try to remove the mineral ions and they will provide it to the soil. That is what we call it as mineralizer. And then they will show multiple nutrition mode. You can see autotrophs here. You can see holozoic nutrition here. You can see saprotrophic nutrition here. You can see parasitic nutrition here. Mithun Chandrasekharan, Mithun Chandran, I am a teacher, I am taking class, okay. And then like I want you to talk relevant to the class. If you have doubts like these, you should ask your coordinators and teachers, okay. So I mean like I don't know the reasons for any of those questions that you're asking me. So what I suggest you is like you please ask your coordinators. As of now, I think you should be like kind of like looking at the class and then like listening to the class. Okay, so things like these should be avoided in my class. I don't like them. You please contact your coordinator. Now listen to the class. This is very important that you understand the thing. Okay, even if you write these for your notes, it should be helpful. The difference between decomposers and mineralizers, whenever a bigger substance is broken down into smaller substance, that is what is decomposition is. While you are decomposing, some minerals are isolated and minerals are made available into the soil, then we call that as a mineralizer. So mineralizers, the role of mineralizer is to remove the minerals and then make it available to the soil. Okay. So they show multiple nutrition mode: autotrophic nutrition, holozoic nutrition, saprotrophic nutrition, parasitic nutrition. All these kinds of nutrition modes are there in plants. So please understand that multiple nutrition mode is seen in monirans. These are the characters of monirans. So first thing that we have completed today. Now what we will do is we'll now study more about eubacteria. Saprotrophic and saprophytic all the same. Okay. Saprophytic means like it will, saprotrophic means it is like kind of like it will live on any organism. When you are using the word saprophytic, the word phytic means it is only plants. Dead leaves, that is what we call it as. If something is living on dead leaves, we call it as saprophytic. Whenever I'm using the word saprotrophic, it means like it will be like living on animals, plants, anything. Ma conjugation, I will come. Kavi Priya, just wait for a while. I haven't come to that area. I will teach you what is conjugation. We are just now entering into eubacteria. It will come under the section eubacteria only. You just have to be a little bit patient. Some of the microorganisms will use minerals for energy. Okay. Some of the microorganisms will use minerals for the energy. The mineralizers will try to take some of those minerals and they can live on it also. It depends on the nutrition of it. So next one is bacteria, or what we call it as eubacteria. They are microscopic organisms. They are present in diverse environment. They can be beneficial and harmful. They have two coverings. Some bacteria are covered by capsule. Can be autotrophic, photo, as well as chemo. And heterotrophic. Okay. So this is about bacteria. Bacteria can be microscopic organisms. They can be present in diverse environment, which means they can be in like all sorts of environment. Okay, they can live in your hand. Okay, they can live on a table surface. They can live inside the fridge. Okay, and then they can live inside in water, in air, anywhere it wants, it will be able to live. That is what we call it as diverse environment. It can be beneficial and or harmful. Okay, sometimes it can be beneficial, sometimes it can be harmful, sometimes it can be both. In one way it is benefiting and in other way it is harmful. So that way also it can be there. Okay, so bacteria can be useful, at the same time it can be harmful. So beneficial in terms of lactobacillus. So you talk about lactobacillus. Excuse me. So lactobacillus is one thing which is like kind of present as curd. So it is beneficial there. At the same time, harmful bacteria like you have your disease-causing organism, Salmonella. Salmonella typhi, it will cause typhoid. So Vibrio cholerae, this will cause cholera. So it can be like kind of thing. Penicillium is not a bacteria. Penicillium is a fungi. Okay. Beneficial, bacteria is beneficial for us. It is helping to decompose things. It is helpful in making curd. It is helpful for making cheese. Okay, like that it will be there. Adisri, that is all related to osmosis. Don't talk about it now. You will study about it in cell transport. It is useful for making virus will not decompose, only bacteria will decompose. We are only talking about bacteria here. Bacteria will decompose the waste. Okay. So, and then like one more thing is like you have two coverings. They will have like what you will see here in bacterial cell is, in bacterial cell, you have a inner covering and you have something called as a outer covering. And you will also have a plasma membrane. So this is plasma membrane. You will have a inner covering and you will have a outer covering. Okay, you have all these things are present inside what? It is all present inside your so you have this outer covering is also there. You have these layers are there. So there are two types of bacteria, which is called as gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. We will try to study about this thing now. Okay, so there are two types of bacteria. What is the two different types of bacteria? I have just, this is not a diagram of a bacteria exactly. This is just a indicative unit. You can say that this is like inside the thing. If I'm going to draw a nucleus and if I'm going to draw some dots and then if I'm going to draw some flagella outside, then you can call it as a bacteria. Okay, so what is the difference between gram positive and gram negative? Gram positive will have plasma membrane, and then it will have a thick layer of peptidoglycan. Okay. So then in case of gram-negative bacteria, you have the plasma membrane. Then you have a layer of peptidoglycan. And then there is one more layer which is present. This is called as a outer membrane. This outer membrane is made up of lipopolysaccharide plus proteins. What is the meaning of lipopolysaccharide? A polysaccharide which is attached to lipids. Okay, this is a structure which is made up of lipopolysaccharides. So here, if you're going to talk about peptidoglycan, peptidoglycan is made up of polysaccharide plus protein. Here, this structure, outer membrane, is made up of lipopolysaccharide and proteins. Okay, lipids are also called as fats, correct? Lipids and fats mean the same thing. So what is the difference between gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria? So there are two kinds of bacteria based on the cell wall composition. One is what we call it as a gram-positive bacteria. The other one is what we call it as a gram-negative bacteria. The gram-positive bacteria will have only two layers. Okay, the plasma membrane and the peptidoglycan. That's all. The gram-negative bacteria will have three layers. What are the three layers? Plasma membrane, peptidoglycan, and they will also have a outer covering. Okay, so these three things are there. So why do we call it as gram positive or gram negative? There was a scientist who was called as Christian Gram. So this Christian Gram was there. Okay, uh, just a second. So children, so what is this thing this guy did was this Christian Gram, he developed a technique of staining. What is the meaning of staining? I cannot see bacteria on my own eyes. Naked eyes, I cannot see bacteria. If I need to see a bacteria, I need something called as a staining procedure. What is that staining procedure? I need to kind of like use some stains and see it under a microscope. So this gram positive bacteria was taking what he called as a gram stain. So he created a stain which is called as a gram stain. Anything which takes that gram stain is called as a gram positive bacteria. Something which is not taking the gram stain is called as a gram negative bacteria. Okay, so that is what is called as gram positive stain and gram negative. Okay, so there are two types of bacteria. So gram positive will have only two layers. This peptidoglycan is the inner layer. Okay, so in this case, like what I have told you is this is like kind of three layered. So this three layer, this is the inner layer and this is the outer layer. What is gram positive bacteria? Gram positive bacteria has only two layers. It has only the plasma membrane and the one layer, single layer. Okay, so that is what is the meaning of it. So there are some monerans. So when I'm saying that it is having two layers, okay, not here. It is having an inner covering or outer covering. This is whenever I'm talking about the two coverings here, I'm talking about only the gram negative here. Okay. So bacteria will be, there are some monerans which will have one covering also. So please understand, this is the difference between gram positive and gram negative. Okay, like let me quickly finish this thing off, and then I'll kind of like explain you once again. Some bacteria are covered by a capsule. Okay, some of them, apart from these two coverings, there is something called as a capsule also. Okay, so what I am trying to tell is monerans can have this way. Monerans can have one plasma membrane, one layer. Monerans can have one plasma membrane, two layers. Monerans can have one plasma membrane, one layer with the capsule. Monerans can have one plasma membrane, two layers, with the capsule. All these things are possible. So here we are talking about, this is only just a gram positive bacteria. This is just a gram negative bacteria. This is gram positive bacteria with the capsule. This is gram negative bacteria with the capsule. Okay. So only with plasma membrane, it will not be there. Okay. So what I am trying to tell is, I am trying to tell that monerans have two coverings. So there are some different kinds of possibilities are there. Some monerans will have only one covering. Some monerans will have two coverings. Okay, in this case, what is the case that I am talking about? This is plasma membrane. And the second layer is peptidoglycan layer. Here in this case, the first one is plasma membrane. You have a peptidoglycan layer and you have a outer layer. Here, this is gram positive case with capsule. This is gram negative case with capsule. Capsule is just a protective covering, an extra layer. Okay, it is like an extra dress probably. There is no specific function. I mean, like what it will help is like probably it will help inside a system. Say for example, it is coming into your body, like capsule will be kind of acting as a protective covering. That is what is the use of capsule. So please understand that this is what is the structure, how it will look like. And then one more thing that you have to know is it can be autotrophic. Autotrophic, it can be like photoautotrophic or chemoautotrophic. Photoautotrophic means using light. Chemoautotrophic means it can use chemicals such as hydrogen sulfide, ammonia. So these things and all can be iron, sulfur. These kind of raw materials can be used to derive energy. Whenever they are using these kind of chemicals for energy, we call it as a chemoautotrophism. When they are using sunlight, you call it as a photoautotrophism. Okay, so please understand that it can be autotrophic or it can also be heterotrophic. Okay, so with this thing, the eubacteria or the basic is over. I'll just teach one more concept and I'll wrap up the day. Bacteria based on shapes. So you have something called as a bacillus. They are rod shaped, and you will be seeing bacteria like this. Then you have bacteria that are called as cocci. Okay, coccus means round shape or spherical. So they will be present like this. Then you can have Vibrio. Vibrio will be comma shaped. I'm not getting the perfect comma, but still like, yeah, this is how it will look like. It will look like a comma shape. Okay. Like how you put a comma, it will be like that. Like this. Then you have spiral. Spiral shape is spiral in shape. Like this, it can be in spiral. Okay, then you have filaments. Filamented. So you will see like this kind of filaments. They will be like kind of filaments. Then you have stalked. They will have stalks. Okay, it will have a thing and a stalk. It can be of any shape, but there will be a stalk. Like this. So if you have a stalked one, we call it as a stalk. Then you have budded. Have projections. So let us say that this is a bacteria with small buds. This is what we call it as a budded structure. Okay. Whenever I am using the word Diplococcus, two coccus together. I can call it as a Triplococcus, three coccus together. Okay, and then I can also have a Streptococcus. Many together. Like this. This is called as a Streptococcus. Okay, these are all the bacteria based on shapes. So with this thing, we'll complete today's class. I have told you in advance that there will be a test. Okay, so please prepare. I want you to prepare the test. They will announce you. The coordinators will announce you when the test is, and you will be given a test quickly. Okay. We are just on 22nd. The test will happen after 25th anytime. So please prepare. So you have Saturday, Sunday as well. So please study. Students are being given some sort of like online material. Okay. So online material is being given in the form of PDF. You can use it. I'll just go to slide number 1 to 4, whatever number it is, one by one. Slowly, you please try to understand it. So the first slide, we have just divided that kingdom Monera into two types. Today we are seeing mostly about eubacteria. First we saw about kingdom Monera as a general. Then we have started into going into the details of eubacteria. We have studied about the general characters of Monerans. This is all like related to Monera. Third slide. Then this was just to explain. I used this slide, fourth slide. And just to explain, I used the fifth slide. Here we have learned about something important, Swedberg units. You will study about this in cell also again. Then we have studied about mutation, which is also a concept which you will study detailedly in 12th standard. Okay. But as of now, just get used to the word mutation. And then we have started to study about eubacteria. Then here, this is very important thing, gram staining technique. We studied what is the difference between a gram positive and gram negative. We studied. Then this is just for explanation. I try to use this thing. And finally, we have studied classified bacteria based on the shapes. You have to remember these words: bacillus, coccus, vibrio, spiral, filaments. And similarly, you should know what is stalked means. You should know what is budded means. You should know what is diplococcus. You should know what is streptococcus. You should know what is streptococcus. All these things you should know. With this thing, we will try to stop it. Stop today's class. Thambi, it will be given as a form of PDF. It will be put in Learnity, I think. Okay, you will get instructions as to how to get it. So I'm not the right person to answer that. I just don't know how they are doing the operations. So I think it will be provided to your mail ID, or they will try to send you a link where you can download. Okay. Whenever a polysaccharide plus protein is there, we call it as a glycoprotein. You have something called as a lipoprotein. You also have something called as a lipopolysaccharide. Okay. So fine, with this thing, we are completing today's session. We'll see it later. Meet you on Monday. So 10th slide, someone asked. Third slide. Fourth slide. Fifth slide. Hey, காமிச்சப்ப என்னடா பண்ண மாதேஷ்? One by one you are asking. Thank you very much. Bye.